Are you more sensitive than everyone around you? Have you ever wondered if you are a highly sensitive empath? Are you easily overwhelmed or overstimulated by everyday life? Stick around, and that's what we're going to discuss today. My name's Derrick Ivey, and I'm a board certified clinical hypnotherapist, researcher, and intuitive. So let's start with this sense of being overwhelmed and overstimulated. If you are highly sensitive, that might be the case. You might be at a concert for a few minutes and just feel all of the energy of all of the people around you. And it might feel irritating or overstimulating, maybe even at a party. Maybe you feel overwhelmed by all of the people that come to you for advice. All of these things could point to you being a highly sensitive, intuitive empath. And this is all about learning our own patterns and cycles. It's not a bad thing to be highly sensitive. It's just something that we need to build more awareness around because when we know that we're highly sensitive and we know how to utilize our energies, things go a lot smoother because then we're going with the current instead of upstream. So, just because we are highly sensitive, just because we're an empath, that doesn't mean that we're introverts necessarily. And I think this is really important because oftentimes these get clumped together. And there's even distinction between being an empath and being intuitive and being highly sensitive. There's nuances with all of this. But I want people to realize that just because you're highly sensitive doesn't necessarily mean that you're totally introverted. And did you know that 30% of empaths are extroverts? So you may be a very highly energetically sensitive person, but you love to talk and you love to connect with others. So these two things can exist simultaneously. Are most highly sensitive people introverts? Yes, but 30% are extroverts. Some things about being an empath or a highly sensitive person makes it more challenging to be a human. And why is that? It's because we feel everything so much more deeply. We notice things that other people goes right over their head. They don't even notice. So we take more on. We tend to, we don't have to, but as highly sensitive people, we tend to take more on and make things our responsibility more. And we can make our human experience just so much easier, so much more easeful and flowful through understanding this knowledge and this wisdom about being a highly sensitive person and utilizing that and integrating that knowledge into how we live our life. Being highly sensitive is not a disorder. And I want to get that out of the way. So often, as we're growing up as little kids, we're made to feel in our society a lot of times as that we are a bother or that we are annoying because we are so sensitive, and there's so much of this masculine energy of get things done, build, uh, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And so oftentimes that very sensitive part of us gets written off, or we're told not to be that sensitive. How many times have you heard, quit being a little crybaby? Or, geez, you're so sensitive. That was my childhood growing up. And I don't know about you. I'd love to hear about how has this been for you if you recognize yourself as a highly sensitive person. How has this been for you going throughout life? How was it when you were a little kid? Did people try to keep you from being yourself as the sensitive person and try to make this thicker, tougher skin around you? So it's not a disorder. You're not defective. It's a trait. Just like I have blue eyes, just like I have brownish hair. It's a trait. It's what we were born as. It's our essence. And we're just more sensitive. That's how we engage with the world. We engage with the world in more sensitive ways than others, and that's okay. You are a beautiful being just the way you are. So, about 2 out of 10 people are highly sensitive, and that's out of everyone. About 2 out of 10 people are considered highly sensitive. And that was from a study up in Canada. Not only are 2 out of 10 highly sensitive, but there are actually genetic markers now that they've proven this high level of sensitivity. So we can set that judgment aside, or we can just get rid of the judgment. This is a judgment free zone. Maybe that's something you could enact in your environment, just judgment free zone. Like, let's just notice this. We don't have to assign meaning or judgment to that, but just we can realize and say, hey, this is who I am. I feel things so deeply because it really can be a gift, can be a huge gift because we can pick up on things so much easier and more accurately than 8 out of 10 people if you're highly sensitive. But at the very least, let's just look at this as it's how we are. It's a way that we were made. Some parts of being a highly sensitive person makes it really, really difficult, though. And some of these things just make us experience life in so much more amazing ways. It's like, yeah, there's these times when it's more challenging, when we're hit harder by something that was really, really difficult. But also, we notice all of the beautiful things more. We pick up on more joy. So it's really important if you are a sensitive empath to connect with that joy, to search for that joy, because you want to be more highly sensitive in that regard, probably, than picking up on every little thing that people do and making it mean something. So What it means to be a highly sensitive person is that we process things on a deeper level. We think things deeply, we contemplate things, we go back and forth about things. We really have a way of figuring things out on our own because we notice all those little details and then we process it at a deeper level. And the gift in that is that we can use it to our advantage and we can express it through our artwork. We can express it through our business. We can express it through our garden. We can express it through our musical talents. But on the other side of that, we can also ruminate and it can fester and it can just make us miserable about things that we have zero control over. So we can use it creatively to find creative solutions. And the unconscious part of that is that it gets used unconsciously. And then it just drives us absolutely batty. So tell me in the comments if being highly sensitive, how that affects you too. I'd love to hear that. As highly sensitive beings, that means that our EI, our emotional intelligence, is way higher than the 8 out of 10 who are not highly sensitive. We have a really natural way about us that really wants to help others. We have big hearts usually. We know when people are being malicious or if they're being kind. We know if people are feeling sad and they need some support. We pick up on all those things. So we use that to create space and know when others around us are not quite themselves, or, we pick up on if they're having a bad day or if they need help or if they need support. So that's a really good thing about it. We can pick up on that. We're great friends. People feel safe around us. I mean, most of the highly sensitive people that I know, people just come up to us and tell us things that are very deep. I could be walking in the park and get in a conversation with someone, and they tell me the darkest part of their life. So we have this energy of that people can trust us. And that's a huge gift, right? The downside, though, is that people can take advantage of this. They can trample all over our boundaries. They can use us if we don't set those boundaries, and they come to us with all of their problems. And they expect us to just be there for them. And as they dump all of this word vomit on us, even when we might be feeling really overwhelmed with our own stuff because we're highly sensitive. We might already be in a state of overwhelm and not really be open to that, but here they come anyway. We might not have that capacity at the moment. And that can make it really hard. But boundaries are very, very important as far as being really sensitive. We have to have boundaries. We have to get really clear on what is it that I am available for. This is what I am available for. This is what I'm absolutely not available for. And we need to be clear and we need to communicate that, or else how are people going to know? So you might really need to map this out and look at all of these different areas in your life, your home life, your work life. all of these things and really find your limit. So when it's crossed, you can just communicate that with love, but that way you're not taking on more than you have real capacity for. Being highly sensitive, you pick up on all of the subtle energies, and they can be very subtle. You're very intuitive. You have this sixth sense. And actually, now science is finding out that it's not just a far out spiritual concept that we have a sixth sense. There's actually a scientific name for the sixth sense now, and I can't quite remember what it was. I heard it the other day, but it's real, it's true. We have the sixth sense more powerfully than most people. And all of us have that sixth sense, but people that are highly sensitive or empath are going to have that way more alarm bells are going to go off about the same stimuli. You're able to figure out when things won't be such a good idea for you. And that's a gift in it, right? Because your body's wisdom tells you right away if you won't have the energy for that, or that's not going to be a good idea for you. Maybe you've been through it before and you don't want to do it again. But you have to communicate that, right? We're even very sensitive to subtle textures. Most empaths or highly sensitive people, they love fuzzy jackets and really soft things, things that have a cool texture. Um, but they're very sensitive to that, really sensitive to sounds or different levels of lighting in the room, or but when there's one little thing off, if you're highly sensitive, you're really going to notice that one little thing that's off more so than most. It may or may not bother you, but you're going to notice it. And some things will feel just euphoric because you are so in tune with the subtleties of energy. Maybe you pick up on every detail of something that is pleasurable to you. You're good at making decisions that just feel right. You have no logical reason, but you know deep to the core of your being that it feels good. So you're going to do it. So you're more able to be self guided if you really trust that intuition and you're in tune with it. As highly sensitives, we have this capacity to really bring more joy in, like I was just talking about. And not just joy, but this ecstatic, euphoric joy that fills our entire being from even just the tiniest little details. Like I went for a walk the other day and my energy was really clear and I didn't have headphones on. And it was just like bliss. The sun coming through the trees kind of glistening in the breeze, the sound of the water, the sound of things going on. And it just all came together and made this beautiful experience. And all it was a simple 0.8 of a mile walk. And the challenge of noticing that, of all these little things, is that you can get annoyed easier. Maybe you have a coworker who sits and clicks at a pen all day. Maybe it drives you absolutely nuts because you notice that little subtle thing all day. And that sensitivity, if not on the right things, can really drive us crazy. So that makes it ever more important where we're actually directing our energy and focus. What are we choosing to focus on? If you do find that you need that moment of pause to calm your nervous system down, take a few deep breaths, regulate, I definitely recommend that you go and look on my channel at the meditations and just do the morning alignment reset or the full body energy reset meditation. Doing more things like this as a highly sensitive person, or maybe you already have a meditation practice or a Reiki practice or what have you. Whatever it is for you, it's going to be really, really important to come back to that space of alignment over and over and over again, because that brings you back home to you. And it gives you that time and space and perspective to respond to the world around you instead of getting just pulled in. So I hope that was helpful. And if you are a highly sensitive, I love helping highly sensitive people. That's 99% of my clients are highly sensitives. So feel free to reach out, like the video. That lets me know that you really enjoy these videos. That gives me inspiration to keep making them. If you want to subscribe to the channel, that really helps us get this work out to more people just so they can know themselves better. Um, and share the video with someone else who might be highly sensitive or someone else that you know would benefit from this. And thank you so much for your time and attention and being here. Just so much love to you and have a wonderful day. We'll talk soon.